Okay, we are going to skip the rest of lesson 4 for right now, and we will come back to it. Lesson 5 is just a little bit easier, so I thought that would be easier to do with a video than lesson 4 would have been. Okay, so in lesson 5, we are going to solve rational equations and inequalities. A rational equation, as you can see, is an equation that contains one or more rational expressions. So it's the same thing that we've been dealing with before, the fractions with x's in them. We are just now going to solve for x. We are going to figure out what x equals. Okay, so if you look at example 1, letter A, you notice we have x minus 18 over x equals 3. So in order to subtract those, we need a common denominator. So right here, we need to get that denominator on this side because we don't have one of those over here. So since we have an x on the right, we can just multiply by x on the left. Put it on the top and the bottom. So now we have x squared over x minus 18 over x equals 3. Now that we have a common denominator, we can do x squared minus 18 over x equals 3. Now all you need to do is solve for x. So since we have an x in the bottom, we're going to multiply. It's being divided, so multiply to get rid of it. That cancels with that. So we end up with x squared minus 18 equals 3x. Since we have that x squared, we need to bring it all together so we can factor. So we'll subtract this 3x to bring it over here. So we end up with x squared minus 3x minus 18 equals 0. Okay, once you get that, you need to figure out what x equals, so factor that. Here we've got a negative 18 on the top, negative 3 on the bottom. So we're going to use a negative 6 and a positive 3. Those will multiply to get negative 18 and add to negative 3. So we got an x minus 6 and an x plus 3 equals 0. So take each piece and set them equal to 0 and solve. So x minus 6 equals 0. X plus 3 equals 0. We add 6 to both sides, so x equals 6. Subtract 3, so x equals negative 3. Those would be your two answers. If that went too fast for you, remember, this is a video. You can pause it and rewind it. Please go back through it. Okay, so B is going to be the same idea. Okay, to do letter B, we need a common denominator again. So since we have x on the left side, we need to put it on the right side. So we'll multiply the top and the bottom by x.
Alright, I'm going to open the door.
So we have 10/3 equals 4 over x plus 2x over x. Now that they have a common denominator, we can write it as one piece. So we have 10/3 equals 4 plus 2x over x. So we need to get rid of the x that's in the bottom here. So we can multiply by x here to cancel that with that. And do it on this side. So now we have 10x over 3 equals 4 plus 2x. Since this was an x over 1, just go straight across. That's how you get the 10x over 3. Now we need to get rid of that 3, so multiply by 3 on both sides. So that cancels with that. And we have 10x equals, make sure you distribute, 12 plus 6x. Now we do not have any x squared, so we can just solve for x. So subtract 6x from both sides. We get 4x equals 12. Divide by 4. So x equals 3. And that is your final answer. Let's go try letter C. Alright, we need a common denominator again. So the left side has an x and the right side has a 4. So if we multiply this side by 4 and this side by x, we will end up with the same thing for both of them. So 4 times 6 gives us 24 over 4x plus 5x over 4x. And that equals negative 7/4. Now that we have that common denominator, we can write it as one piece. So we have 24 plus 5x over 4x equals negative 7 over 4. Get rid of this denominator, so multiply it on both sides. That will cancel that. Remember, it's over 1. So we have 24 plus 5x equals negative 28x over 4. Okay, so we need to get rid of that 4. So we can multiply by 4 on both sides. That will cancel with that, and we have a negative 28x over here. And this becomes 96 plus 20x. Bring your like terms together, so minus 20x from both sides. So we get 96 equals negative 48x. Divide by that negative 48. So x equals negative 2. Let's go to the last one. Okay, so we have D again, has an x on the bottom for the left side, so get it on the bottom on the right side. So we have x equals 6 over x minus 1x over x. A common denominator now, so x equals 6 minus x over x. Get rid of the x out of the denominator. So multiply by both sides. Those cancel. We have 6 minus x on the right. And then on the left we have x squared. Since we have that x squared, we have to bring them all together and factor. You can't just solve that. So we can add x to both sides. So x squared plus x equals 6. Subtract that 6. So we have x squared plus x minus 6 equals 0. Factor that. So we'll go down here. We have a negative 6 on top and a 1 on the bottom. So it's a positive 3 and a negative 2. So we have x plus 3, x minus 2 equals 0. Set them both equal to 0 and solve. Subtract 3, so x is negative 3. Add 2, so x equals 2. If there are any parts of the video that you didn't understand, please rewind it and go back and watch it again. Go through the process again. Then once you finish the video, please complete the assignment that's in the e-backpack folder.